All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna check out its local search, check out its city search, see if it's got BSS for any of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that. Pinned video, homepage, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So it's our full intent ladder. High intent over on the left, low intent over on the right. So for Ryzen, we're probably bringing in peeps from this entire intent ladder, high to low intent, making them aware of us, bringing them into us. And if we're falling, then we're missing some chunks of people somewhere. So again, F6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. That's why it's our North Star. So here we talk about BSS, boudoir search sameness. Well, we'll get into that. That's all about over on the left side, the highest intent peeps, people searching for boudoir photo shoots in our city right now across social search on social media, and on Google. Then over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, that's where we deal with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, our other profiles. We talk about BLCS, and right now we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. And Facebook ads was going to the lowest intent people, which is actually the highest volume of people in that ever exist in one time in a city. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, I mean, dude, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of all Google searches only stay on page 1. They don't even make it to page 2. So this is the bulk of the market, approximately 80%. And we actually, this is the cohort we care about. The other 20%, I mean, they're clicking off to page 10, you know, pages 1 through 10, so we don't care about them. We care about being visible, most visible to the 80% that never leave page 1. So 0 slot, if we're on page 2, basically dead, 80% won't even find us. For our 1 slot, we're essentially dead as well, because we look the same as every other boudoir photographer who also has 1 slot on page 1, and there's going to be 9 others, or at least there's 10 organic slots. So, and any buyer goes to page 1, goes literally just going to click open everyone's, contact everyone, and basically they ain't even going to hit page 2. So we're really being compared against everyone on page 1 of Google search. And we also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are one everyone knows about, which is market saturation, and 2, one basically nobody knows about, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, peeps know that. It's when someone gets a new iPhone, and we see them throw up basically throw up a Google My Business profile, a website saying they now shoot boudoir, or they get a new camera, they post in the mom group saying they now do boudoir. And so that's market saturation. Also, a big tsunami of this came when COVID hit. People lost their jobs. People still needed to earn money. A ton of boudoir photographers entered the marketplace, made it way more competitive. Page 1 on Google to get clients, market saturation, force people out. That normally happens after people get relegated to page 2 or deeper. But the most important thing here is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses, is believing that everyone's, every boudoir photographer gets, like 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. And, if my website was there, I was on page 1, but then market saturation happened, it puts me to page 2. Well, that's simply how it works, all right, I'm at 0 slots on page 1 now, and I'm at 1 slot on page 2. That's simply how it is. Hopefully the new people delete their website, so maybe I can get back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible. Only 20% of people are even coming to page 2. But no, that's totally false. It's a false belief because Google actually gives as many page 1 slots as one wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in 10 days using this new solution we've developed. So we first got to break out of the mental trap, kind of mental cage. We need to understand that page 1 equality is a false belief. That it's just we get 0, 1 slots, and that's how it is. That's how it is for every boudoir photographer. False, incorrect. And this goes for social search as well. We can take as many slots as we want, put in the effort to acquire. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And that's because, if we're relegated to page 2 of search on social networks or on Google, we already know approximately 80% of searchers are never seeing us, which means, we're disappearing fast. And it's kind of a canary in the coal mine. If we have BSS, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means, you know, the countdown clock is on to when our boudoir photography entire business disappears as well. So we're building up our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But if we break through that false belief of page one equality, uh, see it for what it is, that it's false, that it's not true, it's not real, it's made up, we can actually have a chance to use our new solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology that we invented. And again, this is what I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in 10 days. So this works by exactly what it says. We saturate the social search with the highest intent keywords. And this actually, as we do that more and more and more, this flows. It's kind of like all the little rivers, that flow into the Amazon. As we saturate social search more and more and more and more for the highest intent keywords, that eventually flows on down into Google or rank in page 1, which is still where it's like 89, 90% of search happens still on Google. And that is our S-cubed methodology. Special thing about this, S-cubed methodology is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully fight against market saturation, that we can implement fast. The only other second option I've seen that we cannot implement fast is having a brand. That takes years, maybe even decades. But S-cubed methodology, we'll be seeing results way, way, way quicker than that. And it's the only thing that I've seen that can successfully fight against market saturation. Because imagine if we're in Wichita, Kansas, there's a million boudoir photographers. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website. Everyone's trying to rank on page 1 on Google. But if we S-cubed methodology hard enough, we saturate social search to all our competitors. Let's say we take the first 300 slots in social search on all the platforms, and all our competitors are relegated to slot 301 or after. Same on Google, which means 10 organic slots per Google page. So that means 30 pages we tick up. Gotta go to page 31 to find our competitor. Is our business growing, treading water, or declining in a marketplace with 1 million boudoir photographers where we dominate the first 300 search results on all platforms? Obviously, ours is growing. We're the fastest growing business. Even if there's 900, there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers competing against us. So that's just if we, turbo max out S-cube methodology. And so again, it essentially kind of makes it like market saturation no longer matters because we're kicking everyone off page 1. That's the most important thing because we know approximately 80% of Google searchers never go to page 2. So we care about the bulk of the market here, which means the minimum, we got to kick as many people off page 1 as possible. Now, once we treat our BSS with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So we can finally be seen on page 1, not look like everyone else. And a bonus of this is every new slot we take on page 1, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And as a result, they're on page 2. They're effectively invisible, man, because only 1 out of 5 Google searches will ever find them. I mean, they're disappearing boudoir photographer. Their boudoir photography business will disappear soon enough. So it's kind of a bonus of X cubed and S cubed. And this is the same thing on social networks as well, but kind of focusing more clearly on Google right now. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this means we don't have 0 slots on Google, page 1 Google. We don't have 1 slot on page 1 on Google. And ideally, we don't even have 2 slots on page 1 on Google. Our GBC minimum we want to hit is 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for local search and city search. Because at 3 out of 10 slots, we've kicked off 2 out of 3 peeps from page 1 instantaneously. Also, everyone else will probably only have 1 slot. So we're 3v1 again against them. People are going to say, oh, why is Google recommending this person so much? They'll most likely be more inclined to click on us instead of any of the others. And there's a tiny minuscule chance someone else may have 2 slots, but our 3 slots will still beat them. We'll be seen as more prominent than them. So we got it. That activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to become visible. That's the way we can guarantee we're not disappearing. So this is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. And we now have a solution, S-cubed methodology, which we invented. We achieve page one visibility, and we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So it's a full micro universe. And now some results of me using S-cubed methodology because I invented it. So I want to rank for term BLCS boudoir. So we go down organic. Let's go to the organic slot. So we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So that's what I did. I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots. Page 1 of Google in 10 days. Kicked out everyone else here. I took it over. And if someone searches my keyword BLCS boudoir here, who are they clicking on? They probably won't even need to scroll past number 5. They're like, okay, it's all the same dude. I don't need to scroll past position 5. I'm simply gonna click on his organic search result. So this is the power of S-cubed methodology for the keyword that I wanted to rank for. All right, now to the main event here. We're going to check out this boudoir photography business. Going to see if their local search, their city search, if they got BSS going on, yes or no. All right, so it looks like we're going to West Side, Illinois, Lower West Side, Illinois. Small zone of Chicago here. All right, let's see what we got. All right, still hunting. All right, so we're 0 out of 10 local. Let's see for the city though. City's harder to rank for, but let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, boom, we got one. All right, so here's what we got. We got 0 out of 10 local, 1 out of 10 city. So we got BSS for both, boudoir search sameness for both, 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search. And we did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for either of these two searches. You're a disappearing boudoir photographer, and you've done the local search for yourself with a high intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you have also done the same for the city search, and you've had BSS for one or both those searches, or you've not hit the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 page 1 Google searches for one or both of those searches. And you've accepted and you know and you see now that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that false. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 links to us as possible as we want to take. And so you're saying, that's exactly what I'm looking for. S-cubed methodology is my only way forward. You're liking the initial benefit. One of the initial benefits, which is more slots page 1 on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords. Liking the second initial benefit, which is which is kicking more competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. So making them disappear and eventually making them go out of business. And you're also liking, you're understanding the market saturation. People get new gear, yeah. Over time, more boudoir photographers enter. This market slowly gets more and more saturated. But now you're looking ahead and you're saying, wow, AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're seeing that and you're like, okay, actually there's going to be a larger and larger flood of people coming in to be boudoir photographers as AI takes more people's jobs. So you're thinking ahead and you're like, all right, I got to fortify my position on page 1. Can't simply dominate. I got to fortify it. I got to have like so many backup links that Google wants to rank on page 1, but we only got 10 slots, so like Google literally cannot rank all my links there. And I need to do that so that current boudoir photographers can no longer rank on page 1, and also guarantee future boudoir photographers that come in from AI taking their jobs will also no longer be able to rank on page 1. And you're saying S-cubed methodology is the only solution to deliver that as well. And you're liking the future benefits, kind of longer term, which are, kind of the longer, every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology. What we're actually doing is we are increasing the probability that, we're kind of building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, our business name, our website, our social handles, out in like the invisible AI mindshare space. So we're kind of putting these columns like like the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or like spokes, on our bike tire going to the central hub, which is our brand. We're putting all these spokes or columns attached to us. And what this does is this increases the probability that we show up here AI overview right at the top, the most premium placement. We cannot buy this AI overview with Google PPC ads. So every day we successfully execute this, we increase probability we're shown here in premium placement, no ad cost, and guarantees our competitors does not get it. And also, since we're building up this AI mindshare, we increase the probability AI search services recommend us as well. So we're talking ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute methodology. We're actually building these invisible thematic keywords on our around our brand. And as a result, we're increasing the probability every single day AI search recommends us when someone's looking for a boudoir photographer in their city through AI search app. And, Google right now is still approximately 9% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day. Last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, it was gave me 3. And I actually went to like Google for those searches, and dude, I found like 60. Like, dude, if AI's only recommended 3, we need to get onto those 3 by any means possible. And, I believe, studying this, understanding it, that it's this back end AI mindshare, got to build momentum into it, frequency, repetition, relevance, authority, age. These all factor in, kind of all weighted on the AI search backend. And the final thing you're thinking about, can build a brand, estimated 8x faster. And also, you understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be a first mover because you want to box out your competitors, ensure that they don't get access to this, and then you can actually essentially guarantee a massive gap between you and your current boudoir photographers and any future boudoir photographers that will be coming from AI taking people's jobs. And as a result, build a massive back-end AI mindshare momentum for showing up the highest probability with AI search. And you also understand the converse, which is if a competing boudoir photographer, jumps on this before you, then we'd be building that momentum, getting all those benefits for them. You'd have a higher chance getting kicked off page 1 of Google, going on to page 2 to deeper pages, losing. You're becoming a disappearing boudoir photographer, or more disappearing if you currently are already there, and actually slowing, basically on the path to the boudoir photography business disappearing. Plus, you'll be building up this massive back-end AI mind share for search momentum with your competitor. And so what you'd have to do is you'd have to go rederive, or actually derive for the first time, S-cubed methodology. And you would never actually truly know if you derived it correctly. Then you'd have to go and execute on S-cubed methodology every single day. And when you do all that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor continuously building every single day. So you'd actually have to double or triple our S-cubed methodology output every single day to close that gap, pull the AI mindshare momentum away from me and your competitor and towards you for the back-end AI mindshare for higher probability of recommendations in AI search. And you would never feel 100% confident even executing an S-cubed methodology because you would not know if you derived it correctly. So you probably actually wouldn't put in the time to execute double or triple. And double or triple might take, dude, it might take like 80 hours a day. Like, who literally has time to do for 80 hours a day? Ain't nobody got that time. So after understanding all that, you've decided, screw that. I've decided to be a first mover. I'm going to be the first one to use S-cubed methodology in my city. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is closed for new patient intake at the moment. So even if you wanted to work with me, you cannot. But when I open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for using our S-cubed methodology.